Many of the commentators on the Chumash ask the exact same question when it comes to the second of this week's double parsha. Masei. Eile Masei b'nei Yisrael, asher yotzu me'eretz Mitzrayim letzivosam, b'yad Moshe v'Aharon. This is a summary of the journey that we take, 42 different places that we stop along the way from the beginning till the end, and it seems quite unnecessary. This is always a favorite question of many of the Meforshei HaChumash. Why was this necessary to write? Eliezer goes down and he prays and then it happens and he tells again what it happens. The Torah is all over why there's spilled ink on certain areas of the Torah. And then when it comes to Shabbos, Hilchos Shabbos, we learn it out from one word in a connection to the Mishkan. When it comes to so many halachas, we barely even have a pasuk in the Torah. And yet, the Torah expends so much energy, so much time on 42 different places that we stopped where we don't even know what happened in these places. They're just bullet points along the journey. Now, if I were to tell you that I went from Raanana to Yerushalayim, I would say, I started off in Raanana, I ended up in Yerushalayim. I wouldn't say every single town that I went through. I wouldn't say every single turn and every single, little yishuv that I passed by and every sign I saw along the way. It's unnecessary information. We should know in the Torah where we started, Mitzrayim. We should know we went to Har Sinai. There were a couple, big events along the way, and we ended up in Eretz Yisrael. So what's the deal with all these 42 different locations? So Rashi gives an answer. The Ramban, all the Mefarshim give some beautiful answers, the chesed from Hashem, that, very inspirational messages. But I really love two different nekudos that the Limudei Nisan, Rav Nissen Alpert, brings down. Rav Nissen Alpert was one of the Talmidei Muvhakim, Talmid Muvhak of Rav Moshe Feinstein. He was the son-in-law of Rav Scheinberg, I believe. He unfortunately died very, very young. They used to say in America, when you got smicha, on the back of your smicha cloth just had Rav Nissen Alpert's number. You ever have a question? Just go call Rav Nissen Alpert. He was a baki in Kol HaTorah Kula. And he has a beautiful sefer on Chumash, Limudei Nisan. And he asks this question, Mahu hatzorech befrat, with all of these 42 masos, all of these 42 different places along the journey. So answer number one, Yachol ha'adam lilmod harbe mikishlonosav she'al yedehen omed al kochos nafsho. A person can learn a lot about their downfalls. A person can learn a lot from their downfall. They can learn a lot about themselves from the things that didn't necessarily go right. He points out, you look at Targum Yonasan ben Uziel, you look at all the different, Targumim, all these names that the Torah gives, these names that the Torah lists as these places were not, as Chazal tell us, the names of the place, but rather they were based on the actions that happened there, on the different events that took place in that makom. It was called Mara because the waters were bitter, or because there was a lot of bitterness going on there. There was a lot of things in Klal Yisrael that were not so great when they were in that place. Many examples Chazal give of the names of these 42 different places. So says Rav Nissen Alpert, you know why we list them? Because in order to say, we got to Eretz Yisrael, we made it, there were a lot of ups and downs on the journey. There were a lot of times where we just, Pashut, were not our best selves. And we might want, says Rav Alpert, we might want to erase those from our history. You have a lot of people around the world, they're ripping out pages from their history books, they're toppling statues of old people, they're trying to rewrite the history of their nation because for them, it's a stain on their nation's record to have one time believed in slavery, to have one time believed in, segregation, whatever it may have been. But, says the Limudei Nisan, you want to look at where you are right now? That's only because you went through those time periods. That's only because you were nichshal where you were. You cannot pretend like you've never messed up. You cannot pretend like there were never ups and downs. A nation, a people that doesn't learn from their history is doomed to repeat it. You need to know the times that you messed up. You need to know the times that you were not omed b'nisayon. Why? Because it's the only reason you made it to where you are right now. We all have many different things in our lives that maybe we regret or we wouldn't do now, and we tend to be embarrassed of them. We say, oh, I made that one big mistake. And we don't realize, no, that's a part of the tapestry of our life. That's a part of our Membez Masos, of our 42 different stops along our journey to where we are right now. I'm not ashamed of anything I've done. Okay, I have regrets, I have charato, I say, al chet shechatanu on Yom Kippur for sure. But to say, I wish my life was something totally different, a Jew doesn't do that. A Jew recognizes that every single step along their journey was because the Ribbon Shalom wanted them to be there. Why? Maybe to be Oymid B'Nisayon, and we weren't, so we learn from it. We keep it in the history books because it's important to know who we were and where we failed in order to now know who we are and what our successes came because of. That's answer number 1, says the Limudei Nisan. But answer number 2, he says very beautifully. V'od limadnu. What's the Torah coming to teach us? Sheksha'anu nimtzai b'midbar hagoyim begalus. When we find ourselves in the desert, when we find ourselves in Chutz La'aretz, we're living a life in South Africa, in England, in New York, in Florida, in California, wherever we find ourselves. We're in the Midbar. Neda, you should know, she'ein ze mikomenu. It's not our place. Now, I don't know how many Floridians and New Yorkers and English people have told you that, no, this is ours, this is our place, we built this place, and we built this town, and we have shuls, and we have schools, and we have mikvahs, and... No. It's not your place. Ein ze mikamenu. Ella, what is it? Masa mitachana letachana. It is one stop along the journey. Ad shenizkeh sheyavienu Hashem la'artzenu hakadosha. Every single place that you find yourself outside of this land is only a step to another step, to another step, hopefully, for you to end up over here. Kemosha Amar Moshe Rabbeinu, ki atem ovrim es hayarden uvasem el haaretz Canaan. What is the end goal? A Jew can never say, when they're sitting in London, a Jew can never say in Johannesburg and New York, I made it. This is my place. This is where I am. Now, I grew up in a community where you asked a person, where is your dream place to live? Where would you want to live? And they say, obviously, I'd love to live in Eretz Yisrael, but, I hear the beaches are really nice in Florida. Obviously, I'd love to live in Eretz Yisrael, but, my job has taken me to this place. If you're a Jew who can't even say that, if you're a Jew who says, my dream, I would love to live in Cape Town. I would love to live in New York City. That's my dream. That's where I'm going. That's my tachana sofit. That's where I'm headed. Then you have gotten it all wrong. The Torah comes along and it spends lots and lots of energy to say 42 different masos. For some people, it's 100 for 1,000 different masos in their life that might get them to where they need to be. But a Jew can never say that, I made it. Anywhere outside of these Dalet Amos, anywhere outside of the... Yama v'kedma tzafona v'negba here in this land. A Jew, by definition, means that you're planted in this land. Now, okay, you have wonderful schools and there's heterim and chazal to not be here. But you got to keep asking yourselves, what am I doing? For anyone listening on the video, what are you doing? I'm talking to a bunch of people who have been zoicha to find the last stop on their train over here. They came to Eretz Yisrael. They're living here. But if you're in a place where you're wondering, you know what? What's our next move? Where should I be? What is it that the Ribbon Shalom wants from me? Rav Kook famously visited New York one time and he was talking to the different Balabatim there and he said, No, when are you coming to Eretz Yisrael? And they said, Im Yirtzeh Hashem. He said, Hashem rotzeh. Hashem wants. The question is, do you want? The knock's coming. Open up the news. The world is pushing you out. This is where we're supposed to be. Don't let it wait. Don't fester. Don't wait till it's the 1,000th, 2,000th Masa that you're on. Open up this parsha. Recognize, Ein Ze Mikumenu. It's just a step. It's just a step to another step to finally end up here. Lav Dafka Raanana. It's a great place, but anywhere over here, you got to come. You got to be a part of the Eretz Yisrael. You got to be part of the Jewish future here in Artzeinu HaKadosha. Eile Masei B'nei Yisrael. This is where we're supposed to be. Number 1, we've done things. We've messed up. We have times in our history that we're not so proud of. Okay, we don't sweep it under the rug. We don't rip out the history books. We say, this is who we are. We're only where we are right now because we were nichshel. We only are right now because we grew up in the type of place where we grew up, and we had the friends who we had, and all the life events that brought us to Baruch Hashem right now, wanting to be Bnei Aliyah, wanting to be great people. That's number one. And number two, to recognize Eile Masei Bnei Yisrael. Every single step you have until you reach this land is only a stepping stone towards this land. It's only a stop along the journey to Be'ezer Hashem one day reach the real Tachana Sofit with the Binyan Beis Hamikdash Bimkoma Bimheira V'Yameinu. Amen.